Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Incubator Podcast live at Hot Topics in Neonatology in Ann Arbor, Maryland. I think so.
National Harbor.
National
Harbor. All right.
We'll excuse you.
That's fine. We are joined this morning by Brynne Sullivan. Brynne, you are a physician scientist in the Division of Neonatology at the University of Virginia. And you work there as a neonatologist at the University of Virginia Children's Hospital. You're an associate professor of pediatrics, and you're a member of the super dynamic NeoMind AI group. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Go ahead.
No, we were going to talk about, I guess,
Yeah.
the first thing we mentioned off air. You were saying how it is a tradition. It is now, I guess, more than a tradition that you bring a first-year fellow to this conference every year.
The first-year fellows, the whole crew.
The whole crew.
That's
I missed
why.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. I did not go
love
to
that.
conferences in my first year.
I think that's just such a great way to support trainees. One, to come see like what the heck is the conference world like, and getting them to all come together like a little retreat. I totally dig that.
Yeah, it's been a great tradition.
Yeah.
It started before the pandemic. During the pandemic, we all sat in one room together and listened virtually and ordered lunch. And then since we've been coming with the whole first-year class, it's a great opportunity for them to learn. It's not so overwhelming because everything's in one room.
For sure.
They get to hear from experts in the
For
field, and often in first year, they're just getting their research started and don't have something to submit
Yeah.
to the bigger conferences.
And December is sort of that moment in first year where you're sort of taking your first breath. You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Right, you're done
I
with
figured
boards.
a few things out.
Yeah, you've taken boards if you
That's
were part
right.
of that year that the
Right.
boards are given, but and then it's just like it's like okay, like it's not. I'm entering a routine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, I think you're just learning the like logistics and the lay of the land and the basics, and so then to be able to say like, let's get some high level discussion, I think is really
You're a little bit more in
cool.
control. Yeah,
Definitely.
That's really cool.
And you guys will appreciate we then take what we learned at Hot Topics and do a journal club for our division.
Very nice. I think that's a great idea.
Great idea.
So I'm just putting it out there that programs that want to do it, it can be done.
Yes.
It's not that much money to
Right.
send a handful of fellows.
I think that there's a trainee discount, and
I mean, right. Granted, how far away is?
we're close. We're
Right.
we're 2 hours away.
so you drive, fine.
But
That makes it cheaper.
But pick a conference
there's
that's
something.
pick
Yeah.
a conference that's close to your
Yeah.
institution. There's
Right.
always.
Sure.
I mean, there's so many conferences. If
Yeah.
it's not Hot Topics, you could be another conference. You're fortunate enough that you get this great conference here locally.
Right. This
and
conference
I
is
think
special.
people underestimate what it means to trainees when you say like we can handle this for 3 to 4 days so you can go get some real quality education and spend a little bit
Right.
of time getting to know each other.
Some good bonding.
And it's kind of something that to me was a big obstacle of you're part of this field, right?
Right.
Where you have some of these big names in your institution say, oh, just call me Jerry. And it's like, can I call you Jerry? Like, and it's like, no, we're colleagues now. And you're like, are we colleagues?
Yeah.
And it's as a first year fellow, sometimes you don't feel like you're a colleague of anybody. You feel like an intern.
Yeah.
But being here,
Right.
that
Yeah.
really cements, I think, that position. So I think that's really cool.
I know we've spent a long time talking about this, but I think it's super important.
For sure.
So anyways, that's our call to action to training programs
Yes.
is find a way.
Highly recommend Hot
And
Topics.
maybe one for each year, for each group.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, that would be optimal. Okay, you had a nice discussion yesterday 2 days ago now, during the quality conference.
Oh, thanks.
And your talk was entitled Predictive Analytics in Neonatology, Harnessing Data for Quality Improvement and Enhanced Neonatal Care. So tell us a little bit about that. And you're speaking again.
Yeah.
I spoke
Yeah?
yesterday.
Yesterday.
On AI-powered,
That's right.
AI-powered early warning
Yes.
systems for
Sepsis.
neonatal sepsis
Yes.
opportunities and
Right.
challenges.
So my work in predictive analytics has mostly come from the research lens, but I think during the quality day I kind of framed it in an improving care lens, and I think the goal of the analytics that we're building are to get the right people to the right bedside at the right time, and that can be looked at in a research or innovation lens as well as improving care and outcomes.
Yeah, I've wanted to talk to you because I have this question that is very pertinent to the work you're doing in predictive analytics and AI. where I think the field of neonatology has struggled is probably an understatement, to try to define a bunch of diseases, right? Sepsis being one of them. You're talking about sepsis, and we're like, oh,
Right.
what are the criteria? What is this? What is that? Do you think that in the age of AI, this discussion is going to be completely obsolete, and it's like, it really doesn't matter what we call sepsis, because AI has an ability to take a lot of data and just give you an output that's going to say, well, this is something you should be concerned about, this is a high risk, this is low risk. So is the era of trying to define stuff over because AI is coming?
I think for sepsis, it's a sort of right now a non-specific diagnosis. The syndrome that goes along with it goes with many other conditions like necrotizing enterocolitis, urinary tract infection. It all presents with cardiorespiratory deterioration, and AI can find patterns in the physiologic data to identify that. And I do think I don't think we'll become obsolete. I think it'll take the human intelligence to put it in the context of everything and make a specific diagnosis.
Saying like trying to agonize over criteria to say like, oh, this
Right.
criteria of sepsis, or I'm using this other criteria,
Okay.
or BPD definitions, and so on and so forth. Do you think we're going to spend, maybe we're not going to stop altogether, but maybe we'll spend less time saying, well, it doesn't matter so much about how we define it, because if we put the aggregated data into AI models, it will give me the information I'm really looking for, which is my baby in danger, basically.
Right. Yes. I think focusing on the broader sense of, is this baby getting sick? Are they likely to have a poor outcome? Rather than sort of individual specific
For sure.
diagnoses.
And I wonder if we're kind of, like you said, in a retrograde fashion, where, you know, when we talk about sepsis and SIRS, which is the clinical picture, but with the new data, I mean, maybe the data will change our definitions. I think we will still have definitions, but maybe driven by what you guys
or
are,
make the definition more
mining.
nuanced.
Yeah, for sure. My question, we haven't talked about this specifically, but for people who are interested in starting to do the kinds of work that you're doing,
Yes.
I think sometimes it can be super overwhelming, saying like, actually, there's so much data, and I don't even like know where to start looking. Can I look at everything and then it tell me what's important? So how do you work your way through a question?
I think the place to start is find a group to collaborate with, find someone to collaborate with who can help get the data, understand it, put it in the context of the clinical question that you're asking, and a lot of time is spent just on getting, cleaning, understanding, visualizing the data before the modeling can even begin. And I think that takes collaboration with data scientists, engineers, and IT, and experts working in that space.
How has been your experience trying to sort of convince your institution or institutions in general that this is the path to take on? It's kind of a novel path, so the cost benefits, which administration always looks at, is kind of harder to define because not very many people have successfully revolutionized their practice using AI. So how do you go and say, hey, we need to invest in this repository, in this database software or system so that we could start working with our data? Like, how does that work? Is there a lot of buy-in from the administrators, or is this something that you have to learn on? You have to learn your elevator pitch and learn to convince the C-suite?
I think you definitely have to be convincing and pitch it in a way that brings it back to quality and improving outcomes. At UVA, we've been collecting the physiologic bedside monitor data for a long time, and so that's sort of ingrained in our infrastructure, and I'm fortunate to have that support. And over the years, we've built a stronger support from the institution, IT, and health system data science.
So
side.
start somewhere.
Yes.
Pick one flow of data that you're already receiving, and then organize that, and then slowly make your way to broaden that.
Yes.
That's great. That's good. I like
And
that.
I don't think the administrators care about all the outcomes, but there are some outcomes they care about. And so maybe start. So
Sepsis
align
is
yourselves
one of them.
with
is one of them.
that.
Yes, everyone cares about sepsis.
I wanted to say, you're still pretty early in your career, but you've done a lot of amazing work. So
thank you.
where can people kind of speed up their learning curve here and get some good education if this is something that they're kind of remotely interested in?
Yeah, I think one resource that we're building is the NeoMind AI group. There's a lot of work and collaboration going on there to focus on education and connect people with the right resources to learn more about whatever specific they want to.
NeomindAI.com. Just check it out, and they're a great group. And they have scheduled meetings. You just sign up for the listserv, and you'll be able
it's a really friendly bunch.
Oh,
I feel like we say that about all the collaboratives, but truthfully.
And to their credit is that they're not all like data scientist engineers.
Right.
Like, this is like docs like you, me, who also, a lot of them...
Not like me.
No,
Maybe like
no, but like you as well. There's a lot of people on the group who are not like AI sort of masters. Like,
yeah, but I guess
they're
there are
learning.
people who may say, I have a question I think AI can answer.
Yeah, but there's people on that group that will be able to help you
That's
figure out
right.
the answer. And there's people like us who have no background in computer science and so on.
Yeah.
And but they're interested in being a part of this sort of new movement. There's a train passing by, in case you haven't noticed.
Actually, multiple trains coming right by here.
I think that's key, though, is recognizing that even as clinicians, that we have expertise that we can bring to the group of data scientists and the engineers, and to make what the AI relevant to the clinical setting.
For sure.
That's a really neat point, I think, about kind of this, when we talk about multidisciplinary collaboration. I mean, that's really across like all the disciplines. So like we have to get our EMR people, our tech people, but they're not at the bedside. They don't know what is important to us and what streams we use regularly, or what does our EMR view even look like. So
the key is being able to kind of speak the language of the data scientists and the language of the clinical application and bridge the gap there.
Very cool. Brynne, thank you so much for dropping by.
Thank you,
Congratulations
guys.
on your work, and we'll
Thank
see you
you
around
so
the
much.
conference.